Sorry guys, I didn't know what I was doing there. Okay. Today I am by myself without Giuseppe, and like I said before, this is why I am on time today, because I'm not with him and he usually makes me late. So I'm just gonna wait for some people to join us here. We're building an audience. I didn't do the clap thing. Am I supposed to do the clap thing? So if you can hit that share button there, and then we can have some more people watching. Hi, Bianca. Hi, Lena. Hi, Dina. Okay, people are watching. Fantastic. Giuseppe is not on Instagram Live today with us, so we won't be having two conversations at once. What I will be talking about today is invitations. Hi, Seth. I might as well talk about invitations because that is what I do. I'm just going to warn you, I'm a little pissy today. I don't know why. I'm just in a bad mood. I'm allowed to be in a bad mood, right? I think I'm going to call it, might turn into like Whiny Wednesday. Did I say wine? Someone bring me wine. I'm in Kleinberg by myself. Someone bring me wine or coffee, and you can sit here and chat with me about invitations. So, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask whatever you want. The topic today, Kathy, is invitations or whatever else comes up. I just finished talking about invitations for an hour with customers. So, got a lot of things that came up. And also, I just want to remind you, before we forget and before I have to interrupt us again, we are still having our contest. If you know anyone who has recently been proposed to, wants to propose within the next week, and is going to take pictures, please take pictures, video, send us pictures or video of your proposal to info@thebustabox.com. We're having a contest, and whoever wins the contest, we're going to choose the best proposal picture. We'll get a free wedding coordinator for the evening of their wedding, which is hopefully going to be me, or I'll send you someone else just as good as me. Okay, so today we're talking about invitations, and one of the first questions when we get wedding invitations is, do I need to put my parents' name on it? That is totally up to you. Hi, Sonia. I'm just gonna comment on these whenever I can. Need to get my friend. Okay. So, do you need to put your parents on the invitation? That is totally up to you. You know, traditionally, what it was like was the parents were supposed to be paying for the wedding, and okay. Todd, the comments are scrolling over my face. You have to hit the button. And if I move this too far back. Today I forgot my tripod, even though my husband reminded me, and I reminded myself a few times. And so my phone is actually sitting in a tree right now. So I don't really want to go any further back. Is this okay? Let me know. Better? Okay. Okay, so again, do you need to put your parents on the invitation? You don't need to. Traditionally, people put their parents' names before because, you know, this kind of showed that this is not the only reason, but parents were the ones paying for the wedding. So, you know, putting that on the invitation made it clear to everybody that the parents were the ones paying for the wedding. Although today, these days, this doesn't really happen very often anymore. Most of the time, the bride and groom are paying the wedding with their bustas. But they still put their parents at the top of the wedding invitation for respect. So it looks like the parents are the ones, which way they are, giving away their children and technically hosting it. Because let's face it, most of the people on the invite list come from the parents. And the parents are usually the ones who we have to chase down for addresses for invitations, because they just keep adding to the list and they don't realize they have to find all these people's addresses. So they keep saying, where are the invitations? When are they going to be ready? When are they going to be ready? And then half the time they don't have their addresses ready. And it's usually because of the parents. Our list was like, not even a third friends, maybe like a tenth of them were friends, because my husband came home and said, "Mom, invite whoever you want. We have the whole hall." And what happened was, like, we had a list of like 900 people. I know I've said this before, but the doctor who delivered my husband was probably on that list. So when you are considering getting invitations, please keep in mind that if you're gonna order 100 invitations, order 115 at least, because there will be people who your parents will forget last minute, or you will forget, or there'll be people that tend to invite themselves, and they'll see you somewhere and they're like, hey, can't wait for your wedding to come. And then you're like, shit, we didn't invite them. We got to send them an invitation. Oh, you didn't get your invitation? It must have got lost in the mail. And then you got to send them another invitation. Yes, that's true, Anthony. Without the parents' names. Okay, so usually when we put the parents' names on the invitation, we put the parents' last names, and then in the middle of the invitation, I'm going to see if I can find one, we just put the children's names. Can you see this? It's going to be backwards. Everything's going to be backwards. But these are just the children's names without last name. So you kind of, what Anthony's saying is if you don't put the parents' names, you don't know who the kids are half the time, who's getting married, because you don't remember your friends' children's names. Or, you know, it's your coworker and they invited you to their kid's wedding and you have no clue who they are because you never met them before. So when we don't put the parents' names on there, we usually put the bride and groom's names. Let's see here if I have one like that. No, the typical is Mr. and Mrs. Parents' names come, bride's parents' names come first. You can't really see, can you? It's going to be backwards. The bride's parents' names are going to be first, and then the groom's parents. Usually it's the bride's first because it used to be that the bride's parents were being the ones. It's blurry. You can't really see. It's going to be too far. It's going to be backwards too. I'll just explain what's on it. So it says the bride's parents first because it used to be that the bride's parents were the ones giving away their daughter. So they're the ones who are doing the inviting. So, and I just tell people, like, I'll get grooms and they're like, why is it my name first? My name should be first. And you know what I say to them? You're going to be coming first the rest of her life, so let her come first for the invitation. Okay? And then a lot of times people will there's so many different ways that you can do invitations for wording. But we even have this where we have, I don't know if you're going to see that. Is it blurry? Let me know if you can see that. Anyway, how this is, because it's backwards and you can't see it, it is actually, please join us as we celebrate the marriage of, and you have the bride's name, and then it says daughter of, and it names her parents. And then it says to the groom's name, and then the groom's parents. And the reason why we do this as well is because this way it doesn't look like only the parents are throwing the wedding. It looks like either just the bride and groom are, or all, 6 of them are throwing the wedding together. Yes. So sometimes people they'll just put together with their parents and they won't put the parents' names, and then they'll say the children's names right after. So together with their parents, Rita Smith and Joe Jones invite you to their own wedding. So that's another way to do it. I can't read all these things. Okay. So invitations. The way I do invitations is they're all custom made. So it's not like you come here and you just pick out of a book and say, I want that. You can look at something I have and say, I want the exact same thing. It's happened very rarely to me, because I like to just create something for each client based on their needs and their personality. I sit down, I talk to them, I kind of figure out how they are. Just let me know if this is freezing, guys, because the internet here is kind of sucky. What was I saying? See, I read comments and then I get thrown off. You're right. So I try to do make an invitation based on them and their personality. So we'll sit down and we'll go through colors. I'll take out my swatch books and I'll kind of get an idea of what personality's like. So I'll ask them, are you a sparkly kind of person? And then we'll pull out the sparkly papers, which everybody loves, that are in style now. Well, they've been in style a few years now, so I don't know if they're actually in style anymore, but people are still doing it. And this sparkly stuff can be used, this is better. This sparkly stuff can be used in so many ways. It can be used as a backing. Do I have one like that? I'm sure I do. It could be used as a belly band. So this thing actually just slides off. So you don't have over sparkling on your invitation. And you could use things like mirrors. We have a whole set of beautiful mirror papers, which a lot of times people will use the silver. Let's see, where is it? Or the gold. Is this too close now, guys? Am I too close to this thing? See? Do I have an invitation like that? I do. I was looking at it earlier. This invitation has a mirrored paper. It also has a buckle. Oops, upside down. There's the mirrored paper. So, invitations have changed throughout the years. There was a few years where we were doing a lot of pockets and folds. This is a fold. This is a pocket. This holds the map and the response card. We are still doing them. I actually just did this one for someone who is, there was a bow on the front, but for someone, a couple that's getting married. So it is still happening, but don't feel like you've cheaped out if you're getting a vision that is not holding all the time. Because actually, this style is really simple. And it's all in the graphics. So you could do one piece, you could do 2 layers, and you just, we designed something here that is specific for you. I have that one. A lot of people like to use their monogram, like something like that. And then we add your colors. You can add another layer. But this is pretty much what is in style now. I'm sorry if it's freezing. It's because the internet in Kleinberg is not the greatest, I'm going to be honest. So just let me know. Is it still frozen? Okay. This invitation itself does not open and fold. Now you could put this into another invitation that opens and folds. But the back has, you can't see it like that, but it has a pocket. So if you do want somewhere to keep your stuff, we don't want all these folding pieces, you can hide it in the back. And there's a nice way to do it. Or you can put it in that belly band thing I was showing you. You put all the pieces in there. Now, people will come and they'll say, I want this invitation, I want black and white, and I want, you know. Thank you, Kathy. But I'll say to them, you know, what kind of ink do you want? And they're like, what do you mean, what kind of ink? People don't realize, you know, you can do digital printing, you can do laser printing, you could do raised thermal ink, you can do foil. So just to give you an idea of what these things are, I don't know how much you can tell, and I know it's going to be backwards, I apologize for that. Maybe next time I'll do it. Bring a mirror. How does that work? Bring a mirror. Let's see. This is my mirror invitation. Can you see that? Look, look, my phone is in a tree. Can you see it? Can you see that invitation? I wonder if you can see the invite if I turn it. Can you? Yeah, you can. Cool. Cool. See the invitation? There we go. Okay. So this is thermal ink. So it's raised, which means when you touch it, you can feel it. You can feel all the letters. Whereas it's something like this, which is a confirmation invitation, it's just flat. You don't feel it. But it's much easier to and cheaper to get a flat ink if you're going to do a bunch of different colors. If you're going to do 1 or 2 colors, you can go with this because this is a little more expensive than just doing a flat ink. Let me know if my angle's okay because my phone is falling. Okay, this is something that's like a digital print. It's all flat. So again, when you're doing a bunch of colors, it's better to do flat ink. This is actually white paper, and the black is all printed. When I speak to people, half the time they don't understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about design and what we do and things we have, the way things are made. So hopefully this educates you a bit. Sorry, I'm not being too what's it called? Funny today, is that the word? Because I don't have my husband with me here. But sometimes I have to be educational. So here's an educational one. So something like this, if you do it, basically how it gets designed, and I use Illustrator to design stuff on the computer, and then I send everybody a sample before I print anything, and it gets approved. But how this has to be printed is it needs a bleed. So I'm going to give you an education 101 on what bleeding means for invitations. A bleed. Anthony, shut up. Next time I'm going to get the app where me and Giuseppe go live because you can split the screen, apparently. I've been told. So we will do that. So this is called a bleed when you basically have to design this so that the black and the colors go off the page so that when you cut it, you're not like showing a white line because if you try to get it right on, it doesn't work. Sorry. Okay, so back to ink. Now this is my favorite. Of course, not the cheapest, but this is called, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to move it around so it shines. This is called foil. Okay, you guys see the shine? Ooh, fancy. This is called foil, and how this works is basically they make a plate of like a metal plate with all your information from your invitation, and it gets heated right onto the paper. And that's why it's a little bit more expensive than, let's just say, doing, you know, a digital print. Again, this is a digital flat print. Okay, let me show you more of my fancy papers because I just love this and I'm going to use it. I've used this a few times. They actually have paper that looks like wood. Can you see the grain on that? There you go. Isn't that cool? And it comes in different colors. Let's see here. Where's the brown one? Look at that. Oh, they have a black one. I didn't even know they had a black one. Cool. It looks like wood. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I think so. That type of paper you don't really print on. You can print on the white. Which I have here where I put it. You can print on white. There's a piece, a backing. Let's see what else we got here. There is some papers that look like. Do I have it here? Oh, look, this one looks like a tangerine. Can you see the texture on that? Maybe you can't see it. It's kind of hard to show you the textures of the paper, guys. Let's see. Because I have some that are like snake skin. I really want you to see it. Where is it? Nope. Not here. Okay. This paper, I wanted to try to use it from Sun. This communion, which is coming up, which I have planned, which I want to, believe it or not. When you have to plan your own stuff, you don't want to do it. This is called cork paper. Isn't that cool? Look at that. It's actually made of cork. It's very soft. Isn't that cool? Nobody thinks it's cool? This paper here is wood. Actual, like it's actual wood. It's very thick. So I'm going to figure out how to print on that. So I can do an invitation for my son. So, those are just basic. So here is an example of a folding pocket. So what do I mean? When I say 3 layers, we're talking 1, 2, 3 layers. When I say pocket, this is what I mean by pocket. This is what I mean by ribbon. And when it comes to ribbon, I tell people to do the ribbon flat. And the reason I do that, which I don't know if a lot of people who do invitations just warn people about mailing costs, because I can just design a whole invitation for you and just not even care about how much you're going to pay after you mail it. But I'm a nice person. I care. So I'm not going to make you spend money where you don't need to spend money. This is a really bad angle, isn't it? So when you do a ribbon and you decide that you want to do a big bow in the middle, like something like this Tiffany one. It's not even a big bow, and it's not the best bow either because it was tied by someone else. I'm very specific with who does my bows. You need to graduate to bows when you work for me. You can glue stuff as long as you glue them straight, but for you to be able to tie a bow, you need to graduate. Anyway, so because a good bow needs to have 2 loops on the top and 2 just pieces on the bottom, it needs to be cut on a nice angle. But the problem with mailing a bow like this is, if you can see that it's thick. I'm going to educate you on mailing today. How they charge you for mailing is by size, by weight, and by thickness, believe it or not. And a lot of people just think it's weight, but it's not. It's actually thickness too. So they have this little plasticky thing. I don't know if any of you have encountered this. And it's like this. It's got a slit. And they go like this, and they put it right through. And if it stops, they're like, too bad, so sad. You're going to pay extra to mail it. I know. Sucks, right? So something like this, or mailing something like this. Yes, it's heavy. It's going to cost you more for weight. But it's not going to go through their slit thing, so you're going to pay more to mail it. That's why when people want things like that, like this is a buckle, just to clarify, this is a brooch, this is a buckle. So if you go to an invitation place and you're asking for some kind of embellishment, know your terminology. Buckle, brooch. This can be taken off and worn after. This, well, I mean, I guess you can find ways to wear it if you want, but I wouldn't wear it. There's different cuts of paper. So I have guilty, If you want things cut fancy, and by what I mean by fancy is like, you know, different curves and stuff, we either get a die cut, and I'm going to show you die cut. Give me 1 second. Right. This is my sister's invitation. I'm going to embarrass her now. But this mask was cut out from a die. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean die from ink. I mean, they have this piece of wood, and they make like a cookie cutter out of metal from the design we send them. And then they use this thing to chop down. Where was I 4 years ago? I was here. Get married again. It's okay. Have an anniversary party. So what happens with this cookie cutter thing is literally like a cookie cutter. They put it in the machine and they just chomp down your paper. So whatever we design, they can do. I feel like this thing is falling and I don't like it. Somebody tell me. Okay. Oh my god. Dropped the phone. Hello? He's there? Hello, I'm still here. Sorry, guys. I thought you. Okay, I'm just gonna like, oopsie. Yeah, I know, because I have a tree holding up my phone. But wedding planners, like, just in case you forgot, I am one. We try to find different ways to make things happen, and you use whatever you have. And today I have a tree, and that's what I had to use. It worked for a bit until I touched it, so don't ruin a good thing. And there's a lesson. Okay, so. The internet sucks here. I know. I'm going to do it from home from now on. I'm sorry, people. Said I was here and I had meetings, and if you want me to be on time, then I had to. Is that better? Is that good? It's probably going to fall again. Just warning you. Excuse me. I should have brought water because my mouth is dry. I'm going to hit the cord now. So. Just to show you, this is something that is, Jesu, I'm gonna hold it. Duct tape. Yeah, I should get duct tape for real. Let's see, this thing's not gonna stay. Make yourself a coffee. You guys want to watch me make myself a coffee with my machine? Naja. It was working until I touched it, wasn't it? Okay, I'm just gonna hold it. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, this right here is, it can be done with a die, but it also, this one was done laser cut. And what laser cut is also these beautiful things that are in style right now. When you open them, there's a bunch of holes made with a design. And something like that is laser cut. This tends to be in style right now. So you will find a lot of the same ones actually, because these are from a catalog. Not gonna lie, this is about the only thing I have from a catalog. And then the inside I designed myself, because this is a pocket and you open it and we put whatever color you want inside. These come in different colors, but something like this was custom designed by my husband and me, and they cost a little more to make because I need to get something to cut. So just a lesson in laser cutting, because everybody comes and they're like, oh, I want the laser cut, it's beautiful. I know it's beautiful, but you want to spend like $10 an invitation if you want it custom lasered. And then they look at me like I'm crazy and then they don't do it. So, you know, the reason for it is because laser cutting, how it works is they charge you by how long it takes to cut it. So if the machine has all these little itsy bitsy holes to do, like, I don't even know, someone help me out here, but I think it takes like 10 minutes just to cut just this piece. Probably takes like 10 minutes to cut, if not more. You know, and then it's going to cost me like $10 to cut it, which is going to cost you like, I don't know, $15 for the invitation at least. Sorry. So keep in mind when you're asking for laser cutting, if you want a custom laser cut, a design that you create or your invitation maker creates, it's going to cost more. So if you want to go with a template that's already done, it should cost a little bit less. That is laser cutting. Oh, what else? So we were talking about mailing before. The other thing I have to mention about mailing, besides the thickness, believe it or not, you can mail a box and it's still considered letter mail. But it has to be this box. because this box is like the second level of thickness. So what I mean by that is it still goes over regular mailing price, but you don't have to pay for packaging. Like you don't have to pay for as a package. You mail it as a letter. So whatever it costs to mail this, it's the same price as probably as mailing this. Believe it or not. Bet you didn't know that. Probably the same as mailing this. This day, with the stamp being like $1, I don't even know exactly what it is anymore, believe it or not, because I make invitations, but I don't really mail them up very much. It's funny because I make invitations and half my family doesn't even like get an invitation from me because I like hand deliver and I give it to their mom. Like, oh, when your daughter comes over, can you give her the invitation? And then they never get it, and I look like a shama. That's because I always make stuff like last minute. Okay, so was what available in any size, Anthony? The laser cut or this thing? If you get a box bigger than this, if you go over 6 inches in height, you're going to pay more for mailing. Actually, did you know that you pay for oversize, but you also pay for undersize? If your piece of whatever you're mailing is under 3.6 inches, I forgot what the other size was, but they charge you more to mail it because it's too small, because it could get lost in the mail and in the sorting. The machines can't sort it as well, so they charge you more. And that's the same thing for the big ones. If you go over 6 inches, they charge you more. And starting last year, you know what they started doing? Square invitations or anything you mail that's square costs more to mail because it's an odd date. Can you believe that? So something about the box. The box comes. Does it come in 4x6? I have not found it in 4x6. Maybe you can, or you can custom make ones for 4x6. But the issue is not even really the size of the box; it's the height of the thickness. So you can't go over this thickness, which is about, I don't even know, it's like half an inch. I can't remember. I go on the Canada Post website and let you know. And what else? Yeah, so can you believe I haven't been making a lot of square invitations because the first thing I tell people is don't do it because you're going to pay more for the mailing. Why add another $1 to your cost of invitations? If you want to spend that, it's in your budget to spend another $1, spend it on, doing a raised ink or getting like foil instead of spending it on your mailing costs. Because don't forget, you have to put a stamp inside the invitation. It is proper etiquette to put a stamp on the response card that's going to come back to you. Don't make your invitees, if that's what you want to call them, go find their own stamp and stick it on a response card and send it to you, because that's just mean. They don't like that. Also, do not, believe it or not, I've had someone do this, do not put the response card inside the envelope, the response envelope, and seal it, and then put it in your invitation and mail it to someone. Do not do that, because then they have to open it, whoever gets the invitation, open it, take it, open the response card, and find a way to glue it back together and tape it, because they have to mail that back to you. Okay, just keep in mind. Also, when you are mailing things, I do offer a service where I print on the envelopes the mailing addresses. You send me an Excel file, and it gets mailed. Yes, people have done that, Tanya. And it's already printed on there, so it looks really nice. It's better than getting labels and it doesn't match the font, and then the labels you have to put on, they're all crooked. Or don't try to get the envelopes. I always give you a few extra, but sometimes not enough for you to be printing them yourself through your printer, and then you lose envelopes. And then you're calling me, you're asking me for 10 more envelopes, and then you got to pay for more envelopes. What I always say is get the professional to do it, because if the professional screws it up, then the professional pays for it. I do the same thing when I have to print something, I cut something. I'd rather someone else do it. This way, if they then they have to pay for it. Just a little hint. I had a thought and then I forgot what the thought was. Hi Tanya. Hi Dom. Okay, so we're talking about something else. Okay, now we could specially cut things. There's laser, and then there's the die cut. Now I did invest in a silhouette cameo Yeah, it's like a Cricut, if you guys don't know what that is. And I thought, yay, I'm going to get this thing, this machine. I'm going to start cutting out things like, weird shapes. Maybe I'll cut, something like this out. It should be easy. I design it, I upload it into the machine. Well, this thing comes with like a big sticky pad that's like a foot. Okay, and everything you put on there, you have to like stick down, cut it, which takes like a whole half an hour show sometimes. And then you got to peel it off. And then you got to punch it out. And then you got to hope that when you punch it, it comes out like sharp edges and not bad. So I'm not really going to use that often. But I do have a guillotine. I do cut things straight edged. And I will do things on an angle. So this is one cute little thing we did once because it was all cut. How cute is this? It's a little purse. See, you open it, and this is for shower, and all the information's inside. Isn't that cute? You know what? Another one of my favorites. It's for shower. Showers can just be so creative. I know we talked about showers last week, but this is what a shower invitation looks like, and it was a makeup theme. And you open it, and it's like a little compact. Isn't that cute? Oh, and this is the felt paper. It's so cute. So like, it feels like velvet. Yeah. So Anthony, you were asking me about boxes before. I don't know if I answered your question. You just have to try not to go over the thickness, and then you're fine. You're still going to be charged for weight when you mail it, but so it just depends what you put inside. This one here is not that heavy inside. Let me show you this one, the one in the box. I'm going to show you how much work goes into this because we put material inside, satin material, glued all inside, and then there's a strip across the top, and the strip across the top, which is like a belly band, holds all the map and the response card. So we were talking about response cards before. I was saying not to glue the envelope shut. I was saying to put the stamp on. The other thing I recommend to my clients is have your list of addresses and number them from 1 to like 100, whatever it is. And when you do, you need to get your response card and number the back of the response cards. What I mean by that is number 1, if number 1 on your list is John Smith, which shouldn't be, it should be someone with the last name, letter A, because alphabetical order helps with every single aspect of your wedding from that point on. So start off your list with alphabetical order. Do the names and the last name separately in 2 different columns so that when you have to automatically alphabetize it, it's a little bit easier. So what you do is you put a number on the back of the response card, and you make sure number 1 goes into the envelope for number 1 on your list. And the reason for that is because most of the time you can't even understand people's writing. They'll just do a scribble, and then you're like, oh, okay, this person's coming with 5 people. Who the hell are they? So at least you can go back to your list, you look on the back, say, oh, that's number 1, and he's coming. So that's just a hint. And the other hint is when you are stuffing your invitations, try not to do, like, I know you want your bridal party to help, but try not to have too many people helping you do that. You need to have an assembly line. But if you screw up the number with the envelope is supposed to go into, everything else is screwed up after that. So just, there's certain things you don't mess with. I have this conversation a lot about response cards, and most people want to put will attend, will not attend, number of persons. My opinion on that is don't confuse people. Don't confuse people. Just put name, number of persons attending, and a line. Because I've had people put like yes attending, they check mark, and then they don't put a number, or they put a number of people coming and a number of people not coming. It just gets really confusing for people. The other thing I suggest for people is when I know you want to put, like, you can put special meals. I always say people put, please specify any dietary restrictions. The thing that is, I have to say, is this day and age that we live in, everybody's got an issue with some kind of food. It's not just I have a peanut allergy, I can't eat peanuts. If you're going to put that on your invitation, be prepared that your hall has to be able to accommodate. You can't say, I'm vegan, and then the hall like only gives a person like some rice pasta with nothing on it and like 5 vegetables, because that's not accommodating. My sister is a vegan. I don't know if she's watching. And, when she wants she gets the vegetarian. She doesn't just want extra vegetables. She wants something special, like I don't know, some kind of vegetable pasta made. I mean, just keep in mind that if your hall is not going to accommodate, once again, don't do it. The other thing is, if you have an allergy, most people are good. Like, they put it on the card themselves without you having to ask them. Or when they get to the hall, they'll say, you know what, I don't eat meat. I'm not taking the meat. Just keep in mind, even if the hall does accommodate, organizing that on your list is going to be a big pain in the what. So if you have someone that just comes to your wedding and they're just like, I just don't like mushrooms, they're going to say I'm allergic to mushrooms. It's going to happen. I'm not going to lie. So if you're asking that question, just be prepared that you're going to have a lot of people saying that they can't eat certain things. Make sure they don't serve shrimp to a vegetarian meal. I would think they would know that, but I don't know. All halls are different. You need to have this discussion with your hall. It's very important when you're doing a response card. And if you're going to do a meal option for a meal, and someone's going to click off chicken, you have to understand that when you get to the hall, how are you going to indicate who at the table has chicken? A table has 10 people sitting there. Are you going to I've had people who want little name cards for every person, and then there's a little drawing of a chicken in the corner, and that goes in front of the person. First thing, if you just put a little chicken and you don't put the person's name, they could switch spots where they're sitting, and then you're screwed. So you have to put the name, and then, really, you want to put a little chicken? That's kind of cheesy. I would prefer if the hall goes around and says who has the vegetarian meal. But then you get those people who are just will decide that day that, what, I don't like meat. I'm not in the mood for meat. I'm going to take the chicken one. So they'll forget what they marked off too. Sometimes do an option, like I eat chicken or meat or steak or whatever it is. And I might, check off steak. And then when I get there, I'm like, shit, I forgot what I ordered. So if you're going to do something like that, keep in mind that you're going to have to, at each table, somehow indicate who gets what. And when you have to do a seating plan, already hard to do a seating plan, but if you're going to have to do a plan where every person sits at the table, it's going to be a lot more work for you and a lot more work for, if you have a wedding coordinator. The hall might not even do that for you. You're going to have to hire a coordinator just to do that for you, just to put a seating card at every place, something like that. See, this one says groom. You can't tell because it's backwards, but it's cute for decor. So there's many things that just besides invitations that you can I can make, or whoever does stationery can make. And one of the things is seating cards. And I always say to people, I like seating cards better than a chart. And the reason why I say that is many reasons. First of all, a seating card it adds to your decor, adds more color, cute little thingies people get to hold. The other thing is, some Italians, they'll go to their seating chart, which I can do for you. I print those as well, but they'll go to their seating chart and they're like, once they actually find themselves, and they'll be like, I don't know, Signore Pupazzo, whatever his name is sitting at table 12. Okay. Then, you know how Italians are. They'll have 20 conversations before they get to their table. And then by the time they actually are going to go to their table, they're like, shoot, what table were we at? I forgot. So, it's always good to have seating cards. The other thing is you can just make a whole beautiful new table and decorate it amazingly with seating cards. If you go on my profile and you want to look at some that we do flower petals the whole table, and you have seating cards in between. It looks beautiful. You have a round table. You put a big centerpiece in the middle. Those are beautiful. They're just cards that are a little bit harder to find. When you display seating cards, I do have display them facing whoever's, the guests, because it's easier, because they'll help you find their name too. Instead of you facing you, and then you and some other bridesmaid have to spend their time looking for this card when you probably didn't even understand what the heck they said when they said their last name. And the good part is if it's a family member that comes and you can't remember their name and you don't want to look like an idiot, they can read their own name. But if you really feel like an idiot, that's when you walk away and you let the other person find the name for you. Asking opinion, monetary gifts and no kids. Okay, so monetary gifts for showers. It's funny because when I had my shower 13 years ago, it was no way, you want money on your invitation, my they were getting oh my god, that's so insulting. But actually that's when it started. So people were starting to put registered at the Bay, monetary gifts appreciated. So you kind of look like you had a choice. And it's just funny because the people who complain about these things are the ones who are going to give you money anyway. None of these old ladies are going to go to the store and look up your registry anyway. But anyway, now like 90% of, I hardly ever do registries. 90% of the shower invitations say monetary gifts appreciated, or monetary shower. But for weddings, I don't really get a lot of monetary gifts, please. Most of the time, obviously, that doesn't come from Italians. It comes from Canadians or cultures who tend to bring a lot of gifts. And then these people have, either if they live together and they already got a lot of kitchen stuff, they don't want any more stuff. Or, a lot of people are starting to take on this thing that it's okay to, get money at their wedding. So, but since they're in transition, I've had people put monetary gifts, please, or appreciated. But I've also had people write no box gifts, please. And hopefully people understand what that means. So people do put it on there. No kids. No kids. What I say to people about no kids is you can put at reception. Okay, you can put adult reception. I had people do that at black tie event. A lot of people don't even know what black tie event is. It's basically wear a gown instead of a little short skirt. And hi Giuseppe. And now you made me lose what I was saying. But no kids. What I say to people is this: you have an invitation and there's an envelope. On the envelope it says to Mr. and Mrs. Kookadoodle, whatever your last name is. And so if it doesn't say Mr. Mrs. Schmidt and family, don't bring your family. They're not invited. Read the envelope. There's an envelope there for a reason. Okay? For those of you people who are not sending out invitations, and you're getting invitations, pay attention to that stuff, please. But I have had people, very few, say adult reception only. Because hopefully people read who's invited. Now, you will have people who will call you anyway and say, I know it doesn't say my kids in there, but can I bring them? That's when you're in a jam. What are you going to say? What you should say in that situation is we really don't have enough room, so all children. But really, we know the answer is you don't want the little rugrats running around while you're trying to dance with your father or your husband, and the MC just wants to kill them. Honestly. I've had to take kids off the dance floor because parents are just watching them run around. And I'm like, seriously? Seriously? Who wants a little kid running by when you're dancing with your father and you're crying? I don't. So, parents, if there is a wedding and it doesn't say no children and you bring your children, please be mindful that the dance floor is not a playground. And there are people walking around with hot stuff or glasses that can fall on your head, your kid's head, and then they hurt the blame the banquet hall. That's all I'm saying. And it's rude. If you're gonna bring your kids, bring an iPad. Okay? If you can't control your kids, bring their iPad. I didn't throw my bouquet. Do brides still do this? Katerina, thanks for the question. It's becoming more popular now not to do it. I'm not sure why. Maybe you can tell us why, but there's brides and groups who don't want to do it anymore. I don't know if it's maybe just because they know they don't have a lot of single people, or they just don't find it cool anymore. But people still do it, and nobody's ever throwing away their actual bouquet. There's always an extra bouquet made by the florist because people don't want to throw their own bouquet. But yeah, if you don't do the throwaway bouquet, you shouldn't do the garter either, because I think that's a little bit obvious that you're not doing the bouquet toss. But the only people who will there won't be many people that will notice that you didn't do it. Because they'll just be too busy dancing. Maybe the next day I'll be like, wait a minute, I don't think they did bouquet toss. But most people won't notice, really, in my experience from doing weddings. That was a good question. Anybody have any other questions there? Let's see. We were talking about invitations. What else can I show you? I got all the married women on there. Yeah. Giuseppe does this thing because he's an MC. And because sometimes there's only 5 single ladies, and 3 of those single ladies are children under 12, which shouldn't be allowed to be getting bouquets either. I'm sorry. It's my opinion. He tends to call the married ladies up too, and I don't know why he does that. I'm sorry, babe. I don't agree with you on that. It's a tradition. It's for single ladies. Whoever catches it is supposed to get married next. Why would you put, your friend booked me? Okay. Hello. I'm trying to have a conversation here. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Sorry. What do we do when our parents want to invite too many friends and you're trying to cut the list? Okay. First of all, don't get a hall that fits 1,000 people like my husband did, and then they're going to think, hey, it fits everybody. You have to, the way to cut it down is basically get a hall that fits only a certain amount of people, and you just have to keep saying, we can only have this many people. It's always an iffy situation with people because you know what? You invite one friend, you got to invite the whole group of friends. So, what I do say is don't invite that group of friends and then their children too. So I would go through your parents' list and say, you know what, like, have you talked to these people in 10 years? Seriously? A lot of times parents have it in their mind, like, they go through their list of all the weddings they've been to. They gotta let it go. They gotta let it go. They're not gonna get all that money back that they went to. Maybe they shouldn't have gone to half of them themselves. But if you're trying to cut the list, I mean, I think your friends should come before your parents, personally. But I also have, you know, I've had to have conversations with parents myself. And I seriously think I'm going to write a book to all mothers of brides. We can have a whole episode about that again. To let them know that it's not their wedding. It's really not their wedding. And you want your friends there. And you want to know the people that are there. They're more important to you. I mean, you might know people for like 30 years. And you don't hardly talk to them. But they're a paisan. And, you know, you met your neighbor like a month ago. And she's your best friend. You have her there, right? It's not working. Haha. They don't get it. Well, maybe what you should do is say, there's this many people, 300 people. Yes, I'd rather cut the parents' friends. True. There's 300 people. I'd rather cut, not the parents' friends. I would say I'd rather cut paisani who you don't talk to. Not the people your parents talk to all the time. You know what? Let your parents invite their friends because they'll probably have a good time with their friends. Rather than a señora who's going to go talk about them tomorrow. Right? But if you really need to, just say, you know, there's 300 people allowed in here. I'm giving, I don't know, you can make the number. 100 are for me and my fiance, 100 are for my in-laws, and 100 for you. So, if you want 120, go talk to my in-laws and tell them to cut 20 from their list, because I'm not cutting 100 from my list, because it's my wedding. That's all. That's what I would say. See how that goes. Or, you say, we are only wanting to invite this many people, if more fit. If we go past 300, you're paying for those extra people. That'll do it, I think. Depends on your situation. I should, Rosemary. I will. I actually started writing the book because I think that mothers need some guidance. Because they've been married, but they were married like, what, probably like 20 years before you. And, you know, maybe they have regrets of their own wedding, which I'm sure we will when we're older. But like, you know what? I have to really talk to some mothers because they're crazy. Like they'll like fight with their daughter over a little jewel on invitation. It's really not that big a deal. Sometimes I'll tell, you know, the daughters, you know what, just let your mother have that. Like, it's not a big deal. Is it really bothering you as a jewel? Yeah. Or, you know, let your mother you have this because she's dreamt about it since you were born. Things like that. But, you know, sometimes I have to talk to mothers and be like, really? You're going to fight with your daughter over this? Like, this is her wedding. And sometimes I need to hear it from someone who is not someone who's always nagging in their ear. Like, it's like my kids. You know what? I could tell them things 100 times. But like, if the teacher tells them, then they hear it. So I'm one of those parents who will like yell at other people's kids because they get scared of other people saying stuff to them that have nothing to do with their everyday life. It's true. You just did your list with your fiance, not even 70 people. Yes, but the question, Samantha, is how many people do your parents have? I mean, I don't know. My wedding was like huge. We had 700 people. So, cutting a list, I'm really not sure how to do that. But you have to, seriously, kids, I tell my husband this all the time, kids of, like second cousins, they don't need to be invited. They don't need to come. Yes, Kathy, weddings are getting smaller now. So, you know, people are starting to understand, you know what, it's not as like, the traditions are not like they used to be. Always good when your fiance's family is huge. Yeah. 500. Sorry, I'm reading comments now. Yes. It was a lot of people. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I tell people this all the time. It doesn't matter how many people you have at your wedding. I've done weddings of 700. I've done weddings of 100. Yes, it's more intimate. But has 700 people is a huge party, and your dance floor always looks busy, so that's good. Never looks like you're always pleasing people as much as you might be unpleasing. Is that even a word? Displeasing some people. But if you have to go choose a bomboniera, you're choosing a bomboniera regardless. So you gotta buy 20, you gotta buy 100. What's the difference? Your DJ, you actually make more money when you have more people at your wedding, because the DJ's cost is going to be the same. It's not going to go up. The photographer cost is going to be the same. It's not going to go up. The limo cost is going to be the same. Not going to go up. The videographer cost is going to be the same and not going to go up. The only things that go up is you need more flowers and you need more food and you need more bomboniere. But hopefully those people cover that. It's not like, oh, we got to control more people. The kitchen, if they're doing your wedding, they're doing the pasta, they're doing that much pasta regardless. Let's see here. It's a good idea to cut the kids just right to Mr. and Mrs. Yeah, I said that before, but that's only if people actually read the front of the invitation, which they don't. So you guys can go out and educate your parents to do that. Then my family only have 3 aunts. My parents, I wish they helped more. Your parents aren't too involved. You wish they helped more. You know what's funny? I have people who, with their parents and their fiance, either wish they helped more or wish they helped less. And I'm not sure what to say about that. I think what you want is support, not people to walk away in their opinions. And that's hard to get, because what happens is I get grooms that come in and they're like, yeah, that's nice, honey. If you want it, that's nice. That's fantastic, because they're there, they're giving their opinion, they're being supportive, they're saying I like blue over red, they make a choice, it's good. But sometimes I'll get grooms come in and they're like really, really, really picky, and then they fight. And the same thing with parents. And that's when you don't want too much opinion. So what I say is, like, if you're going to go see like 20 photographers, don't bring your parents to them. You shouldn't see 20 photographers anyway. But once you got it down to 2 or 3, then you say, hey, which ones do you guys think? Give them an option of it's not a choice for them. It's, how can I explain this? Give them a chance to give you an opinion, but let them know that they're not actually choosing. So, sometimes even like giving them a vote and more people vote, then they understand 10 people are voting on it, then they understand it's not totally their choice. But even with invitations, get it down to 2, get it down to whatever, and then have people help you. But I do have to say, in my opinion, in my experience with invitations, if you know that your parents or your fiance or whatever are really picky, and decided that you're going to make their pickiness be a part of your wedding, because if you're one of those people who's like, I don't care what they say, that's fine. But if you know that they're like that, if you know that they're like that, and I don't know if anybody else out there who's a vendor can agree with me, but at least for invitations, they're very custom. We sit here, we talk about colors, we talk about folds and flips and bends and fonts and whatever. It's a good hour consultation. If you know that someone is going to have an opinion or needs an opinion, bring them with you. I don't care. I can handle like 10 people in here. Trust me, I can handle a crowd. But the worst thing is when you come and we sit there and we design something, we spend a whole hour, and then you go home and you're like, oh, my husband doesn't like pink. What did we have this whole consultation for if you knew that their input was going to matter? That's all I'm saying. Does that make sense? Okay. We got 6 minutes to go. I can't believe I actually talked a whole hour and like 26 people stayed talking with me about boring invitations. I mean, they're not boring for me. I love doing it. I had 22 in my wedding party, but I'm Sicilian. I had 22 in my wedding party too. Yay! We talked about wedding parties last week. So go back to our, was it last week or the week before? Everything you see live, I always post it. So go back, go to this Facebook page. I try to post it on the Boostabox or the Boostabox events, and you guys can watch it later. Giuseppe's not here today, but usually when he's with me, we go on Instagram live on his Instagram as well. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about Giuseppe the MC, and he happens to be my husband, if you didn't know that. So that's how you can find us. Just so you know, in the last few minutes, I'm just going to remind you, I am doing a contest, for those of you that don't know. And the contest is, send me your proposal pictures or your proposal video, not really engagement pictures taken by a professional. Something showing how you proposed to, or how you proposed, to info@thebustabox.com. It should be there somewhere. If not, if you can't get me that way, send it through Facebook, send it through Instagram. You can follow me. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's the Boostabox. That's BUSTABOX. So the BUSTA box. And you'll see contest details there as well. Send me that, and contest closes February 20th, which is Monday. And next week, February 22nd, I will tell you who the winner is of an event coordinator for the evening of your wedding, which, if I'm available, should be me. So that should be fun. What else? I also want to let you know there is an event that we're doing. This is Giuseppe, my husband's 40th birthday. I know maybe you don't know him or you don't care, and that doesn't really matter because we are celebrating his 40th birthday, but the whole point of it is we're raising money for sick kids. Go to GiuseppeTheMC.com, click on, because a lot of people are having trouble. There is an orange square with his face on it. It looks like a poster. Click on that, and you can buy tickets. They're only $15. Invite your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers. All proceeds are going to sick kids, and it's going to be a blast. We're expecting about 500 people, and I think we're halfway there, but we got a few weeks to go. So we'd like you to come out and meet us and party with us. Thank you, Katerina. I love when you're watching me. But come have a drink with us. It's a cash bar and $15 ticket. You cannot pay at the door. You need to go online. And you can order food there too. It's a lounge bar thing, but it's more like a club setting. There will be capoeira. There will be a capoeira show. There's going to be a comedy roast about Giuseppe. A bunch of comedians and Instagrammers, people you've seen on Instagram, will be there. You're going to see bongo. I think there's a bongo player. My husband's going to kill me. There's going to be singers. There's going to be a reggae singer. What else? I can't even remember. There's going to be a popcorn machine, I don't know, balloons, all kinds of stuff. We don't even know yet. We just keep adding stuff to it. So if you need a night out, it's March 4th. Buy your tickets. Can you go live on Instagram? I can't do it at the same time that I'm going live on Facebook. So it's hard on one phone. I tried to go on Facebook Live on my computer, and I guess that doesn't work. Does anybody want to help me with that? Because I would have done it on my laptop. But next week, I don't think Giuseppe will be with me either because he has started his tour. If you will be in Montreal this weekend or want to go to Montreal, he is doing a comedy show about his mother and all this kind of posts on Instagram on Sunday, the 19th. And he'll also be in Woodstock. So Woodstock's not a far drive if you really want to see him do stand up, and I know I make fun of him all the time, but actually he's pretty good at that, so should be a good show. So if you want a night out, take a drive to Woodstock. You want a night out with your husband, get a hotel somewhere there if they even have hotels in Woodstock. I don't know what they got there, and come watch a show. I don't think I'll be at Woodstock because I think I have a wedding that night. What else, guys? We got one more minute. What else you want to talk about? Anybody want to ask me anything? We could talk about menus. We could talk about programs. Anything on paper we can do. This is a program just to show you. I love it. It's like a fan. Fantastic. And this is a menu that I love. It's circular and it goes right in the charger plate or under the clear charger plates. So look, you can put all kinds of things on your invitation. Look at all these ribbons I got. Ooh, colors. Look at this. Look at this. There's a whole book of colors of ribbons. So if you really don't need invitations, but you just want to come and sit here and talk to me for an hour, bring me a Starbucks, which is right next door. I'll be happy to just show you all about invitations. Okay, so once again, for the contest, it's info@thebustabox.com. I will be going to Montreal for Family Day weekend. I'll probably be going live with my husband because he has a show again once again in Montreal. Everybody have a happy Family Day weekend, and I will see you again next week at 9:30. It is my father-in-law's birthday, so I'm not sure, but hopefully I'll make it for 9:30 so I can tell everybody who won the contest. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night. I'm going to be out of here, and it's kind of creepy here in Kleinburg by myself at this time. So me and the cat here, we're gonna go now. I want to do a present for a sister and brother is a professional salsa dancer. A good idea. Yes, sure, if they like salsa, why not? Just make sure you tell whoever's coordinating that there is a dancer. Make sure you tell the kitchen that there is a dancer so they understand not to screw up the food when all of a sudden this dancer shows up. That's all I'm saying. Okay, love you guys. Talk to you later. I'm out. Ciao, ciao.